Entertainment, sports, news, and opinion now. Here is Steve Malzberg.
This isn't about me suing the president. What we're talking about here are places where the president is basically rewriting law to make it fit his own needs.
House Speaker John Boehner made official what he's threatened for weeks, that he's filing a lawsuit against the president, saying Mr. Obama's executive actions to change the health care law and other federal programs are evidence of a White House that's out of control.
Really? Really? For what? You're going to sue me for doing my job?
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't think it's his job to circumvent the Congress. But joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to say, is John Zogby. See, John, we went a number of years, and now it's only been a number of weeks. I like that. CEO of Zogby Analytics and founder of the Zogby Poll, which we all look at every time we want information. And welcome aboard, sir.
Hey, good to be talking to you again, Steve.
You too, John. All right, so you wrote a piece that this lawsuit that John Boehner is filing against the president on behalf of the House, which voted to approve it, is idiotic. Why?
Because just in practical terms alone, it doesn't move the ball forward. You know, Republicans still do need some proactive agenda to run on, and it opens up the potential for the president to do what Harry Truman did in 1948, which is run against a do-nothing Congress. The problem here is that the Republicans have a difficult time even agreeing on just what that nothing is. And while this is good strategy to rev up the base, there isn't just simply one base within the Republican Party. You know, there are multiple bases, and there still are, believe it or not, some moderates and moderate to conservatives left who want to do something, who want a proactive agenda. And by both together a lawsuit and now this initiative as well, it's a way of, I think, confusing matters and opening the door for the president to come off to come against them in a negative way.
Well, I think he's been trying to do that. He's been conducting what seems to be a never-ending, campaign tour where he makes these stops no matter where he is. And lately, for the last, 3 weeks or so, it's been, as you heard coming in, what? They're kidding? Sue me? They're going to sue me for doing my job? Maybe they don't like me. They didn't do it to Bush. Sue me? What? Sue me? You don't like it? Sue me. And the latest numbers out from NBC Wall Street Journal, in that particular poll, his numbers are the lowest they've ever been. His approval rating at 40%. Country's headed in the wrong direction overwhelmingly. They don't trust him on issue after issue. They're not satisfied with him. So, how much more could he take this issue and villainize people, villainize the Republicans?
Steve, don't get me wrong. There are no heroes in this story here, but this very same NBC poll that has the president at 40, which is a record low for NBC for the president, also has the Republicans in Congress at 14, which means the Republicans have some making up to do, and they need some clarity. Now, they gave some clarity with this action and a few previous actions regarding President Obama. They gave some clarity to one or two segments of the party, but this is not a majority coalition around these kinds of activities. Remember, the critical mass of Americans still want something to get done. They want some resolution to some of our issues. And so I did call the action idiotic because I think it takes the GOP eyes off the prize.
Well, I agree with you that they need something to run on, but I will maintain, John, that something to run on is when Jonathan Turley says that this president is out of control and is what the founders feared. And this is a man who voted for him twice, who's a constitutional scholar, obviously one of the foremost in the country. I think the prize is when the U.S. Supreme Court 13 times in 2 years rules unanimously that this administration in one way or another has overreached and overstepped their bounds under the law and under the Constitution. I just think that it's not a matter of the number of executive orders. The left likes to, and and the media likes to say, well, look at how many Bush signed and how many Reagan signed, how many Clinton signed. It's the magnitude. It's the selective enforcement of existing laws, whether it's Obamacare, as the lawsuit talks about, or immigration reform, or welfare reform. And now he's going to do something else reportedly, and probably the biggest one of all, and that's on immigration reform. We're granting possibly amnesty to 6 million people. Never before have I seen a president overstep his constitutional authority. And you know what he says? He says, if you don't like it, sue me.
Okay. And it could very well be that by saying sue me, Republicans adhering to that they're giving him precisely what it is he wants. Jonathan Turley is a friend of mine, as he is of yours, I'm sure. So is Larry Kudlow. And Larry had a very good piece last week saying, where's the Republican growth agenda? You know, no only gets you so far with your base. You know, where's the proactive agenda that moves the country forward? And ultimately, someone who's not a friend of mine, because I've only met him once, but I admire his work, Samuel Popkin, in the reasoned, rational voter, says, voters ask, what have you done for me lately and what will you do for me next? And I think that just saying no and lawsuits and investigations in a very practical way only get you so far.
All right, but and I love this conversation. By the way, for the record, Jonathan Turley, I've interviewed him a couple of times. I would consider Larry much closer to Larry Kudlow, as a matter of fact. And you're right, and we've had him on, and he has said that on this air, and I do agree with him to that extent. However, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think you could do both. And what about, as the Republicans have just started to get out there, the fact that they have passed in the House over 300 bills, many of them dealing with economic issues, jobs bills, etc., that have died in the Senate. When I say died, I don't mean they were voted on in the Senate. I mean they've been sent there to die because they're not brought up or addressed by Harry Reid and the Democrats. So, I mean, you know, this Republican House has submitted bills, has addressed issues on many issues and many different topics and subjects, but nothing's being done by Harry Reid at the behest of Barack Obama.
Steve, I'll reiterate, there are no heroes in this story. You know, ultimately, in the middle of a number of crises, and so many crises, either the news are covering them better, or they're just an unprecedented number. This is the time where you need the Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan scotch drinking, card playing. You need the Barry.
Yeah, but John, with all due respect, John, that never happened. According to Reagan's people and the people around Reagan, that never happened. Somehow, if that was what Matthews wrote in his book, it was fantasy. I didn't read the book. They never went across the street and had a drink and sat down.
It's what
in
Tip
fact, Tip
wrote.
O'Neill shut down the government. Tip O'Neill shut down the government several times.
Yeah.
John?
Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm here. I'm just wondering why you're yelling.
I mean, no. I'm not yelling. I'm saying that never had. That's a myth. And Tip O'Neill, the great peacemaker, Tip O'Neill, I think it was 8 times he shut down the government. So I mean, it's nice to fall back on folklore.
Okay, but bottom line is that we can do with the concept. Passing legislation that you know is not going to go anywhere is just as faulty. And look, again, you know, the same thing with the Senate. If you're just going to pass them for the record, you know, the American public gets smart. And the American public is smart already. You know, you're in a year when you probably should have a record turnout for a legislative election, you're probably going to have a very, very low turnout. That's what it looks like.
All right, but what do you, let's finish up, John, by asking what you think that turnout is going to result in.
How it's going to turn out on Election Day, I really don't know. To be very honest with you, I suspect that a lot of these close races can go either way. I don't see a wave election yet, and that's not because there isn't revulsion towards the president and the Democrats. It's just that there happens to be revulsion towards the Republicans, a pox on the entire system. That makes it very unpredictable.
All right, John, great conversation. I loved disagreeing with you, and we part, of course, as friends, and I hope you'll come back real soon, sir.
Take care, Steve.
All right, John. Thank you. You too. Take care. John Zogby, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, look, and he points out in his piece, and as he alluded to, the congressional approval rating for Republicans is in the toilet. But, district by district, the Republicans aren't going to lose the House. I'd be shocked if they didn't gain some seats in the House. So this approval rating for Congress, I think much of